Well, hello again there, friends and fans. Raptor here, and welcome to our survival base here on Mars. We're in the middle of the Gala crater. We're just off in the distance. You can barely see it. We've started to build a giant survival base to be amongst some of the first to successfully colonize Mars. There's been other attempts, and they haven't been so successful, but today we're going to succeed as we take our first look at the newest prologue for this game coming out in 2022, hopefully sometime soon. This big old vehicle here is amazing. This heavy rover is a fantastic piece of equipment that'll allow us to transport a lot of things in its dump bed, but also the ability to transport supplies and other things around. Think of it as like a giant sleeper cab for a truck with the ability to bring several attachments for the crane too, including a drill and also a welder and extra oxygen for external, which basically means the ability, I think, to put it in the environment of the cab so we can breathe easy. Well, if you guys want to see more games like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, where this game combines elements of other games you may have seen, known as Planet Crafter and also Surviving Mars. Perhaps doing a little terraforming will be the end goal of this game, as eventually we will be planting all sorts of different crops and farming ourselves. External. This vehicle is amazing, by the way. Check this out. There's all sorts of electronics and such on the inside of it. It's astonishing to see how much the developers added since our first look. I think back at maybe 2020 or 2019 maybe. I'm not sure, but this game's been in development for a while with lots of improvements from other games that are similar that the devs been working on, such as Rover Mechanic Simulator, which, yes, you do maintenance on rovers and Mars, and that's exactly what we're in right now. Here's the inventory of the inside of this vehicle, and here's some extra stuff that we could use for later, such as an extra helmet, water bottles, and oxygen. We'll take a few of those for later, and we'll go ahead and close up shop. We can also sleep here too, so this is, again, like a sleeper cab of a big O truck, and will be our temporary mobile base for a while, as we have to do a lot of work out here. The developers done a lot of great job of adding all sorts of different details to the interior of the cabs, battery extensions, oxygen extensions, things that we can add and upgrade to make our vehicle better. This terminal here is actually remote too, so we can command it from outside the vehicle too, and we also have the ability to command it from the inside, as you would imagine. Here's the controls for the crane camera. We can turn on lights and put it into transport mode, and here's some other attachments that we can use, as I mentioned before: the claw, the welder, and the drill, used for getting supplies and salvage off the planet's surface, as there's been some other failed attempts to either, well, orbit Mars or at least colonize it. Let's go ahead and go to our first objective here, which will be to pick up a rock just over there, and then we'll make our way to eventually make some solar panels and expand our base. So when this game starts out, I believe you're going to have nothing but a lander, and I think it's just basically going to be like how it is in Subnautica or other games, where you start with essentially just like a little survival raft or craft or escape pod of some sort, and then it's up to you to basically find all the materials in order to build your base and go around a mine. As you can see over off in the distance, there's many more meteorites and things to harvest from, and even some crash sites from other failed expeditions to Mars. Let's sit back down, let's grab our crane here, and let's see if we can do our first objective of picking up that rock in front of us. I must say the crane controls are a little, like too precise. I think this is just for the development phase. The developer is now doing a playtest for this game on their website or whatnot, or on Steam, and so they're improving things like the crane. And yeah, obviously picking up this rock like this is a little not so actual or factual, but as you can see, it kind of like moves around pretty smoothly. I guess this is to make things a little bit easier for initial playthroughs, but I hope for some more realism soon in that. But to make it easier is not a bad thing either. All right, let's go ahead and put ourselves into transport mode, where the crane will come back to the front of the vehicle, and we will drive to this little, I guess, airlock, or some sort of a piece of a former base or colony or a starship or something that was over the top of the planet and came crashing down, and now we can use it for salvage. All right, that's close enough there. Go ahead and jump out of the vehicle. Oh, yes, let's turn ourselves to the left. So on the left side, you can see the suit O2. Set. You can also see my health, stamina, a few other stats for inside the vehicle, and outside. You can see external O2 is basically 0 here on the planet, obviously. But when we go inside the base, which is right over there, when we go inside the habitat, which is the large dome building, you'll see just momentarily that we'll have oxygen and can breathe without the suit. We'll have the suit on at all times, just so it's easier and faster, but it's just one of those things where it'll switch to that whether or not we're in an environment where we can utilize it or not. All right, we're scrapping now for some screws. Very quickly, we pick that up and goes into the inventory. We can store that inside of the ship if we want to, or inside the rover, I should say. And then speaking of a ship, you can you see that over there? Little bit of a crashed ship over on that side. So one thing I haven't seen from the developers yet, I tried to look around for it, and I probably had missed it, is whether or not this game will have multiplayer. Now, I hope it does, but one of the things I want to make clear for myself is that if I play this game, I certainly would like to only be me for a while, and then eventually have a friend join me later on. But I want to know from you guys, how important is it in a survival game or a building game such as this to have a friend with you? How important would it be to have, like, for example, Subnautica have multiplayer? It doesn't. And there's probably mods to bring it in, but it's just an astonishing game without it. That's Subnautica. But as for this one, would it be too boring? Is it too lonely? Would you like to see the creations of others and the help from other people to go gather materials? I'd like to know from you. Over there, next to the base, by the way, you can see these large little, what looks to be dark-colored towers. Those are storage batteries for solar panels, which are then powering that thing there with the blue tank next to it and the solar panel. That's a water extractor. So we have water and power already working, which also means we can make oxygen inside the base. And over there is like a large offloading platform or refinery where the truck can park. We'll go up there in a little bit and then offload our materials.
Oxygen set.
Oh, a little bit of a glitch there. But hey, that's why some improvements are being made. But look at the detailing to the vehicle. Yeah, a lot of nice things have been added since last time, and the developer is still making improvements to a lot of things, which is why they're doing a playtest right now. Gamers of all types are doing the more advanced playtest to really get into the late game and add a lot more features and test out things that the developer has added in the late game too. So definitely not in a real hurry here. Today's video will be quite some time, and we'll be doing some live streams on this one in the future. So if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do, and also turn on that notification bell and smack like if you'd like to see more games such as this, which of course the name of the game is Occupy Mars. All right, we're going to jump into the crane now and go ahead and take control of that and see if we can load the ore from inside there. If it's too far away, we can actually use the crane to drive to the other side, or rather reach to the other side by driving over there and see if we can load it up. Looks like it's in a pretty good position right now. It's hard to tell where the ore is. Essentially, it's this dark rock that's right in front of us, and if we, if you see the crane there giving us a little bit of a green plus sign, it might be hard to see. But if we look at this rock, it's a red, which means there's no useful minerals inside of there. But here in this case, we do have ourselves iron ore, so we're going to grab that as effectively as we can. Kind of hard to tell whether or not we're touching it, but it's become the ultimate claw game, I suppose. Now, another cool piece of equipment that we get is actually surveying equipment, and we can use that to find water and or iron ore and other things like that. And that'll be helpful for us to essentially make a base with all the materials needed. Things like silicon or uranium or whatnot for nuclear reactors and things like that will be available. Here it's being a little picky, but I think we'll get it that time. There we go. Perfect. So let's go ahead and drag it out to the side here. Hopefully there's going to be real physics to knock over other rocks and such and push things around, so that way you don't have to push the vehicle into them. But hey, mission success. Fantastic, we did it. So there's giant boulders out here. I'd love to be able to use the drill to crack open all these and grab all the pieces. I feel like just for the tutorial that they're just kind of simplifying a few things for us now. All right, let's go back into transport mode, and let's get ready to load up into that dump area. We're going to also, I guess in order to access our inventory, we need to step out of the chair, and we'll quickly take a little bit of water here. Some high-quality H2O. There we go. And we'll go ahead and sit back down in the chair there and go ahead and head into the base. All right, so let's go ahead and roll up to our drop-off position. This really reminds me, by the way, there's third-person mode, pretty sweet, of bringing back materials in Astroneer, which is another fantastic video you'll find on the channel, and of course features a lot of external base building with a lot of vehicles that you can build and areas to drive your vehicles, and customization of kind of roadways and things like that, and loading areas and unloading areas and organization. But in this case, we're driving over, as you see right back there, a little bit of a shredder, which right now we're in the position to stop and offload. We're going to go ahead and jump out of the vehicle then and let it do its job.
Oxygen set.
Yeah, sweet. You can actually see the dumper actually doing its job there. Very cool. Nice. And it's loaded back into position. So this is a crafting station. This structure here is an area for us to store our vehicle, which is kind of a nice area out of the way, but also serves as a platform to make other things. These cranes and whatnot also work in order to offload other things, and if we fall in there, we will die, so make sure you don't do that. And yes, we need to be careful about that one. So, yeah, a lot of things can actually kill you on this planet, not just suffocation or starvation. So a lot of things can come out of this base and be loaded onto your truck too, larger parts that you can transport around, and different containers or whatnot. Right now we're going to make the battery pack parts. We're going to click on this, and you can see silicon, aluminum, iron, calcium, and uranium are things that we can salvage from either other wrecks or to refine from just the natural resources on the surface of Mars. We can also do semi-trailers and take a look at our own inventory, but in this case, we're going to go for, we're going to actually search for it here. We'll type in battery pack. And there you go, the battery pack, which is seemingly, you'd think that would be like something that would go on your person or that would be needed for a flashlight. But this is actually a very large piece of equipment for the solar panels, which you saw earlier. This is probably more parable for the small solar panels. It looks like there's some medium-sized ones out there too. But let's go back to the inventory, and we'll drag everything that this thing completes into our inventory and go build that shortly. So the printer... This is essentially like a 3D printer attached to a giant shredder attached to like a refinery. So it takes all of your materials and shreds them up, refines them, and then it can actually print them in order to make use of them. So in this case, of course, we have a few other things here. Up in the upper left corner, we have pipes which can bring water to the base. We can pipe all of our different types of water extractors and daisy chain them together to a large holding tank. And we can kind of do the same with power in terms of connecting them together and bringing them to like a large battery or something along those lines. All right, the printer's all done, doing everything it needs to do. Let's hop back in the vehicle before we run out of O2. And let's be very careful. There we go. Taking a little bit of a risk walking there. I hope this thing in the future, maybe there'll be some sort of a door that you can control or that it stays shut when it's not operating. Seems like an unnecessarily dangerous risk, but you don't get a lot of movement space around this vehicle with all these massive tires here.
Oxygen low.
You really got to park it perfectly here. All right, oxygen low, as the lady says.
Set.
Let's go ahead and
Yeah.
So now that we're on oxygen external, by the way, that means that our oxygen won't go down, but it won't go up. So we're replenishing the oxygen inside of our tank. I really do wish the interiors would replenish your oxygen inside your suit, but it's definitely, I guess, a nice thing to have at least portable tanks, so that way we can bring oxygen with us if we have to work away from the vehicle. If we go down into a mine or something like that where there's not a lot of equipment. All right, so this will be our habitat here on the left side. This must be the lander too. I think the large thing there with the window next to the larger dome is where we initially land and then have to grab supplies and stuff in order to then build the habitat station, and also this here, the water extractor and the initial solar panels. So I think we get a little bit of a fresh start, or really a pre-start, a quick start from the devs, so that way they can show us how everything works. All right, we're going to stop here. We're going to hop out.
Oxygen set.
We're going to close our door. And we're going to go ahead and start connecting this battery pack and probably daisy chain some things here together, so that way we can take another source of power and store it rather than directly delivering it to the water extractor. So let's go ahead and build our battery pack here. If we pull out our welder, actually I want to show off too the water detection thing. This might also be able to detect, well, not only water, but iron ore or silicon or something like that, so you know if you need to mine somewhere or what might be inside one of those rocks. This, of course, is to build things, and you've already seen this, the drill to drill into the large rocks and the grinder to salvage from wrecks. All right, let's go ahead and pick our welder then, and we'll pick a blueprint. Let's go ahead and grab that. And we're going to go into build. We're going to build a source of electricity, which in this case we have solar panels, medium and small size, but in this case we want the battery pack, which takes aluminum plates, glass plates, screws, and electronics. So luckily we were out grabbing a lot of that stuff. Now, it does seem like we can only build on a grid in this game, but I did look into the controls, and it looks like there's also a free build mode too. The grid just makes it a little easier for when you're connecting everything together with tunnels such as this, so that way it's a little more snappy when it comes to connecting a building to another building, and then you can connect them with tunnels or tubes in that case. All right, battery pack is complete. Excellent work. We're going to go ahead and disconnect this here and see if we can connect them and daisy chain them together. The next objective then is to find a tablet with geothermal data. We're going to also grow 10 potatoes. We're going to charge the heavy rover, which is this beauty right here, and then also supply electricity to all the buildings. And I believe that might include this here, this battery pack, so we definitely want to connect this together. Let's go and open the socket and connect that together. Then there should also be an out for this on this side, yeah. So this is the output as it says there at the top. And then we should be able to connect the power to that. So let's grab our, let's see, inventory, cables. We're going to go ahead and see if we can take that into our hand. Or actually, we could equip it this way. There we go. Would be nice if there was an option to equip, but we're going to go ahead and plug that in. And the cable management in this is really good. It reminds me a little bit of what it is to do in Gold Mining Simulator, or Gold Rush. Essentially, wherever you walk, your cord will be laid out. So if you want to have nice cable management, you better walk in a really nice pattern so that way you can tell what's there. I believe eventually we'll get power lines or whatnot, but at least things are on the ground so they're out of the way, both for, well, the base looking nice and also so your vehicles can drive over them. But I hope there's some other method to do that. But there we go. Right now the battery pack is connected to the extractor and everything's looking good. All right, let's pull up the vehicle to the habitat, and then let's look inside for our potatoes and whatnot. One thing you haven't seen yet is the planter. The planter looks absolutely hilarious. It looks like essentially on farms, or if you've ever worked in your yard before or done any sort of landscaping, fertilizer is typically kind of spread with these large things that look like fans that spread them all around and flick out the fertilizer, kind of like a launcher. It kind of makes like a little bit of a, think of like a ceiling fan or whatnot, but designed more to like throw it around. You'll know what I'm talking about when we get there to our base. So let's go ahead and pull up to the Mos Eisley bar, and let's go ahead and jump on in. All right, I'm not the first person to think that it looked like Mos Eisley. I can't be. This definitely looks like a Star Wars building for sure. I can't be the only one to think it's the bar. All right, well, or at least Uncle Owen's. Let's jump inside then. Look at that. You can also see the detailing from the landing as well. A little bit of the atmosphere burning off there. It's really cool. I like that. I think that's a really cool feature. Let's go ahead and pull the lever here, opening up the door, and let's go ahead and close it. This is our airlock, which will then, of course, depressurize the, well, actually repressurize this air, but it'll pressurize and depressurize as we go in and out. Pretty cool. There we go. That says emergency open, by the way, but it's really the only way to close things. Oh, I guess it stays open since we're on this side. Or auto closes. Nice. Right, well, this is our area for farming. We have a hydroponic shelf here. And we have some other areas inside the base, too. This area used to be a nightmare for frames, but it seems to have been improved nicely by the developer. This is our living quarters storage area, and we can mitigate some other power and things here. Like, for example, you can see our oxygen production, temperature, and the power needed to get this thing running, which is our oxygen purifier or filter or maker, whatever you want to call it. We can fill an oxygen bottle here, and we can start and stop that if we want to, and fill up all of our extra bottles that we can bring in from outside. We need to create external oxygen for the vehicle, and that's parked out front, and of course our suit that's on us right now. Wow, nice windows here. We can see everything from this position. Very nice. Well, this is the tablet we're looking for. Let's go ahead and use that. If we can drag it into our inventory, that'd be nice. Can't interact with that, though. Looks like a workbench or whatnot. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at this workbench, too. Ah, it's actually a bed. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of work here. That does not look like a bed at all. It looks like a desk with all those little doodads on the side of it. Calendars, pictures, etc. Some more lore from the game. Who knows? And, of course, our little workbench here. We'll get our tablet from that shortly. And also the other things we need to do. Grow the potatoes and whatnot. Let's head back downstairs and we'll go ahead and equip our planter. I believe that's under tab 5. There we go. Now we need to grow 10 potatoes, so let's go ahead and spread it out. You can see this thing actually working. There we go. Perfect. So that's been all planted. Now we should be able to grow that soon at the hydroponic shelf. So we just need a little bit of time to pass. We need to now gather 200 iron from the container, which could be somewhere nearby. And, yeah, so we've got some other things to go to. A lot of place to expand inside the base as well. So this will be our initial landing craft, which is now a restroom, I guess. At least it looks like it is. It's been converted from a landing craft to now a bathroom. Shower, toilet, laundry, a sink. I couldn't imagine that, actually. It's pretty impressive that they've done that. All right. Well, nice detailing to the base, that is for sure. Let's go ahead and check out the other door, which I believe might lead to the office or something. Oh, yeah, another bed. Yeah, we have ourselves some processed foods. So we have some stuff we can eat here, MREs. Go ahead and equip those. Pick those up by holding E. There we go, so we can snack a little bit as needed. A Rubik's Cube. Book. Another thing that appears to be our tablet here. Connected to that other tablet on our wrist. And maybe some more things we can open up. The developers made some good changes here, so good to look around a little bit to see what we can interact with. The bed, for example, being a good one. Guide to Mars. Well, I'm glad we have that. We're going to be writing that book. That's going to be our book to write, I must say. All right, well, let's grab the tablet and a few other things. We'll roll out, and we'll go ahead and get other objectives complete while we wait for all this stuff to grow. We'll charge the heavy rover, and we'll get all the electricity supplied to the building, too. Set out the little airlock here and get going. All right, so essentially what we're going to do here is, I'm not sure if I'm doing the potatoes correctly. I haven't completed that part before, but we have ourselves an incubator here for seedlings for potatoes, and we also have the hydroponic bed here too. So we might be able to make a lot in both of them, and they should be pretty good even if the power goes out. Essentially, the main mission here is to try to escape before a massive storm comes in. So it's going to be on to us to basically get the base prepped for somebody else, I think, and then we have to extract ASAP. So
Low carb oxygen set.
we want this set here.
Suit.
Cool. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the inventory here. We got some food to eat that we found previously, so let's go ahead and make a couple of snacks there. There we go. All right, and we're going to go ahead and roll out at nighttime here to see if we can go ahead and find what we're looking for in the tablet. We also need to go to the container, so I guess we'll kind of start with the container, which is nearby, and then find the geothermal data. The rover can be charged last, and we can also go ahead and do the electricity
Oxygen
last as
set.
well to get everything fully supplied before we leave. All right, let's go ahead and find that container right over here. I'm going to go ahead and grab that. Lots of promise with the different trailers and such that we can attach to that. And we have some music now. Yeah, I reloaded the game so we can get some tunes going. But nice space music, as you'd imagine. That space trucker music, as usual. Very StarCraft-like, I'd assume. And reminds me a little bit of Firefly and other shows. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and grab that 200 iron, which should be in here somewhere. Let's see, the container is... Oh, it's actually empty, is it? Oh. Well, we'll get that as soon as the... I guess as soon as all of the rocks process, that's what we have to do. So as we get more and more materials stored, I think it's stored off-site. But that's where we go to get that. So if we had all of our mining complete, and if we get more salvage, all of it will be placed there if it comes from the refinery, I believe. And then we can use that to either take it as a raw resource and put it into other machines, or bring it right back to the refinery for processing. There should be other ways to do that. So, the Big O crash site, I guess the vessel or whatnot, the machine that was crashed at the very beginning. All right, well, it's looking about snack time right now. I've reloaded the game to get the tunes pumping, so that's good. We're going to have a little bit of a snack here before we leave the base. 3 of those should do. And we're going to take a look now at the farm. So I haven't done this before, but I believe the potato seedlings possibly have to grow either, I forget the order, but the 2 things that we can utilize for this are the incubator and the hydroponics table. And there's some tutorials that go into explanation about that. And I think that's different from the initial demo, where I think they've changed how it's done slightly, and it'll change even further when it's fully released. But that's where we'll be continuously getting our food from and growing like Matt Damon in the future. So that's pretty cool. So the base overall looking really fantastic, and the habitat in which we can customize and build different types of workbenches and whatnot is pretty cool too. All right, we're going to go back out to the rover. I'm going to show you where we would get our metal from. One of the objectives, second from the bottom on the right side, is to gather 200 ore from the container. And essentially what we want to do is gather all the ore that's needed ahead of time and bring it to the processing plant, so that way it can store that in the container, or other things can be made from that as well. So we're going to mosey on over to the container and take a look at where that is, and then we're going to go out and look for the tablet as well. So just on the back side of the ore processor, the big refinery, the printer, whatever we may call it, is this container here, kind of hidden off to the side. And this thing is, I believe, also something that can be towed onto the back of the truck, onto the rover. It looks like it's made of the same materials and might be able to transport things from one base location to another, or, for example, from the maybe from the refinery to a temporary storage area if this is full of stuff that we don't want. So we can name the container. It should be full of all sorts of things. Once processing or refining is complete, it can be filled up with all sorts of different goodies, and can also be used as kind of like a secondary overflow storage. All right, it's getting pretty dark, so we're going to wait until daytime, and we're going to go ahead and jump out to the next location where the tablet will be, and we'll be on our way. All right, time to have a little bit of a sip before we sleep. So from what I understand, the Prologue here after you beat it the first time, there's a massive storm incoming, and it's on us to get out of here before that giant storm comes. And so we've got about 2 days to grow all the potatoes and get all these objectives done, and you're kind of not supposed to know that and then go through it the second time, knowing what you know after the first time during your kind of second playthrough. So what we want to do is essentially get ready to extract from the planet and have all these base things ready for whoever, including ourselves, may return. So for example, we want the what we want to do is, ooh, that is beautiful. Yes, so what we want to do is, of course, get all those plants grown. Oh, that is gorgeous. And a change in music, too. And power up the base for anybody who may return, and geothermal data for anybody who may return as well. We're going to jump over to this distance and cross that open field to get to a crash site that should be around these rocks. Let's drive in third person because it looks real cool. Yeah. Alright, so quite a large area we can build in. We're in the Gala Crater for now, and I think that's where the initial area is starting out to hold us for the prologue, but guaranteed that the base will be much larger than this. We would run out of resources in time if it weren't for that. Let's go ahead and check this area for any sort of oh. Looks like the dump bed's doing an auto dump. Nice. Anyway, very romantic with the music.
Oxygen set. Suit.
Now this is a way, by the way, that the tipper trailers like this, they can use this oftentimes in agriculture, and sometimes you might see this in you know, construction sites where they drop off a dumpster this way and then roll it back on. It's a kind of a rolling bed that grabs it with a crane arm and or can second as a dumper trailer. A few different things that can be done to do that. If we need additional resources, we go here to one of the crash sites where we have ourselves a bunch of former habitat equipment, which must have been blown to the side by some sort of another failed expedition. That totally won't happen to us at all, though, right? Hope not. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump back onto the vehicle. And let's go ahead and check our second site now. We'll drive over to that one and see how it goes. We're going to keep searching for the tablet. It's in one of these sites.
Set.
One of these crash sites. We'll keep on trucking for that. Oh, we got to pick up our tipper bed, don't we? Go and grab that back on. Oh, we can actually leave it here. That's really cool. There we go. And we can attach the trailer just as easy as we dropped it off. So, yeah, the roll-on is pretty cool. Pretty useful. All right, let's go ahead and go over this way. And we're just going to keep searching the outskirts of the area to see if we can find wherever the next tablet may be. So in all of this, we'll probably be jumping around, grabbing rocks while we go. We'll be making sure that we have food and water, and maybe going back to check on the potatoes if grown, which likely they won't be. But we want to look for anything that might be useful out here, and something that we can load into the back of the trailer, ore-wise. So it's a pretty good deal. I wonder if this thing can go up here. There we go. Let's try to climb up this way. Pretty powerful vehicle, I must say, for being all electric. There we go. Second crash site is over that way. But you can see it's quite capable. It also has a power save mode, and I think a few other drive modes to it as well. Power safe mode it is. One of our tasks is to also refuel this vehicle. Well, recharge the batteries by connecting it to the base, which can then double as a power station for vehicles. There's not a docking station or anything for it. We can essentially pull the plug out of, like, for example, the refinery and plug it into the Rover, and then utilize the Rover as a, you know, kind of like a USB charger. Well, like we're charging our phone, and the Rover happens to be connected to the other end. Okay, this is a good site to be. I think, you know, I'm wondering, I'm trying to look at the wheels and such of the vehicle to see if it's getting dirty at all. It would be quite amazing if dust and such actually clang to it through static electricity or something like that.
Oxygen
we can also go into
set.
third person with our
Suit.
Yeah, our little astronaut here. Our settler. We got some tanks here that we can salvage. I think there's additional iron in those. And we can try to jump it into the There we go, into the habitat thing. I think this is like a former habitat of some sort, a longer shaped one, but maybe better for farming or something like that. But that's what we're looking for, the tablet. All right. Cool. It looks like the one that we actually have up on the upstairs in the lab, so that's exactly what we're looking for. This one just having the geothermal data, so that's a objective complete. So now we can just use the workbench in the main habitat, which will decode whatever's on this tablet. We can also then connect all of the electricity to all the buildings to make sure they're charged, and then also gather 200 iron and store it in the container too. So in the next couple of days, while we're waiting for the potatoes to grow, we then need to stop at each one of these rocks and load it. There's also an auto load mode that I've noticed. Let's see if we can go ahead and grab this here as well. Looking at the controls, in addition to the... Oh yeah, look at that. Love that auto crane mode. But yes, in addition to this, I think we can just press E and it'll automatically put it in the back of the bed for us. Let's see. So, oh, okay, there's ways to control it smoothly like that. X and C. There should be a retrieval mode, but I think there is a way to nicely put it into the back. It is not very difficult to do, so you can definitely do that manually. But there should be a way to automatically do that. But we'll keep on driving. So yes, we'll continue to gather things like that. All of that could have silicon in it, maybe iron ore, aluminum, and perhaps maybe in the future there'll be water and things like that that we can get from crushing ice. Let's go ahead and drive around looking for anything else. Again, we would continue to pick up every single little rock around here, and we would be able to build our base over this way as well. Pretty amazing how large we can make our base. Quite a lot of space over here to expand into. But it looks like in the initial starting area, and just on the front side of the base where the habitat is, where the most rocks are. So on the other side of the base where we're looking now, and over here in front of the base seems to be where the most amount of supplies are. Pretty cool that we can equip the truck like that and bring the container around. I hope to see more features like that in the future. They do that, again, in agricultural farming equipment. They have manure spreaders, fertilizer tanks, and things like that that can be dropped off or picked up pretty much anywhere. And so that's pretty useful. So 2 locations to go get supplies from. Use your grinder over there at both of those locations for immediately prepared parts. And then you can use your... oh, it detected that we're at the base. Cool. Nice. Yeah, so you can go ahead and use
oxygen set,
raw materials to make materials or pre-made materials to salvage. Pretty cool. So it is advised then, in order to provide enough power, build another solar panel and connect everything together so that way it's all being charged. And then make sure that your large facility there is connected, which you can actually see the cable going up here. So make sure that before you leave, everything's connected, and that'll be a completion for the mission. That'll allow you to basically have everything complete to give you the quest then to extract. So that's the main goal of the prologue, is to essentially expand on the base just a little bit, get some supplies, store those supplies, and then make sure that you have decoded the geothermal data. Quite more advanced than I was expecting for a prologue like that, but also wanting to see some more base building, which is exactly why we need to get into the playtest ASAP before it's released sometime later this year. Love how the airlock looks. The detailing is just, it's amazing. It's fantastic. They've done a great job of adding wiring and stuff, and hopefully it gets more detailed in the future of just adding little details here and there. Appearance aside, it's really looking nice. Oh, looks like we have potato seedlings now, so they are starting to grow just a little bit. Time will have to pass, but let's go upstairs and try to explore the data on the tablet. Alright, follow tutorial steps. To repair a circuit board, you'll need to locate the broken components first. Find a broken component. Oh, we have a little tablet to kind of take a look at everything here. So all we need to do is just scan every one of these pieces to find out what may be broken, and boy oh boy, that looks to be broken to me. That chip there apparently seems normal, but I don't think so. That looks to be the most busted, as well as this here. The coil type 1. Go ahead and scan for that. That is definitely not looking in good shape. Alright, we have a soldering station here that we can utilize. Let's see, soldering is set to iron temperature. Wow, so we actually have to pinpoint this out with the tool. Is there a way to rotate? Pretty amazing, though, that we can do this at the station. So this will repair the data for us for the tablet, and then we can throw that in and basically have all the data complete. Oh, yeah, I was right. So it's the microchip here and what looks to be a resistor here. In this case, it's the coil type 1 and the monolithic type 1. These are the two bad components. So that's what we can do is the soldering iron and the hot air tool. I think we can use this to clean things up and also basically repair it. We'll have to pull out the old ones and put in the new ones, essentially.
Dehydration detected.
Dehydration. Man, we barely even got started with our day. So that's how to do that. And once we've got that complete, then we have basically the objective complete. We can't really do much with the geothermal data at the moment, aside from look at it. Now, additionally, the O2 and the H2O can both be replenished from the station outside. So I want to go show you that station in a little bit more detail in the Transformers. I'm just showing everything off for what you can do when you download it today to see all the features yourself. I think everyone should try this out, and I enjoyed it when I tried it out last time, too. Looks like we have some small plants crates here. There we go.
Oxygen set. Suit.
And so out here, we have our water extractor, or storage facility for it. And so we can refill water here on this side and O2 as well, so oxygen can be refilled here on this side, which is stored in that tank. Water is stored on the other side. We can refill small tanks here for the external sections of the rover. We can also power it up there too. And there we go. Water is stored on this side and or pumped into the main base that way. So that thing creates water. We can also fill up individual jugs there for our person or for our vehicle. And so once all this stuff is connected, we should be good to go for the base power as well. Some of the things are off and or underpowered, so as you can see here, we don't have everything fully connected. One of the solar panels or something may be off. We also need to build one of those solar panels too. That's going to be another thing to do to more effectively charge the rover. Well, let's bring that over. Is the last thing we do. Let's go ahead and charge the rover then. We'll connect that back to the line and see if we can undo one of the powers here. Power sources. There we go. And let's find out where the thing is on this. No, does it take diesel electricity or does it take unleaded? I'm not sure. Well, there it is, the oxygen, and there's our socket, so we can give it electricity there. There we go. Is the plug too long? Maybe it's not enough power. It might be overstretched a little bit, but essentially that's how you do it, passenger side. Charge that up with all the power that's needed, and that will be job done. So with your potatoes grown, with your tablet found, with the circuit board repaired, with the additional solar panels that you want to build built, and with everything connected to power, everything should be fully functioning. The base may be under power as well. Then you'll get an objective to extract before a giant storm comes, and you can use all the tools and stuff in order to get that done, including the soldering station upstairs for the electronic replacement parts, which allows you to solder each of the components in a little bit more detail. Go ahead and give it a try yourself. I'm going to be live streaming this too and go into more detail about it. So this is kind of more of a, hey, this game's coming soon, and I want to play this one. I'm also promoting my own live stream, which will be coming up very soon too. So if you want to subscribe to the channel and see more about Occupy Mars before it comes out, I'm happy that I took a look at the update. I think they added some great new features to the game and are adding more features that I've seen. And additionally, it's much more optimized and more able to run pretty efficiently without having to have like 1,400 graphic cards. All right, well, that's it for my time today. Thank you, folks, for leaving a like on the way out, and I hope to see you all next time. Thanks again for subscribing. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all soon for Occupying Mars in a future base build. See you next time. Goodbye. What does that mean?